episode 102 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And Cameron, I'm still mad.
You're still mad?
I'm still
sorry. I'm still hurt from that. It's been a very emotional week for everybody.
This is true. Yeah,
Bad movies. I mean, wasn't that horrible movie?
We
watched Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald last night.
AKA what I refer to as Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Warner Brothers.
Yes. And it's not the best movie.
It's the worst movie I have seen in many years. I hated it more than I hated Justice League.
Which is saying a lot.
That's about as much as you can say.
More or less than Bat v Soups?
More.
You hated it more than Batman
I hated
v Superman?
Justice League more than I hated Batman vs. Superman.
I thought Bat Soups was your lowest.
No. Because at least there are parts that I can go like, okay, sure, I get what you're doing here. And at least things happened in Justice League. This is not the place to get into it right now.
No.
But,
save it for the end.
Oh my God. I am still like buzzing with anger from watching that movie. It made me so mad.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'd rather have people enjoy it than not. But if you enjoy it, you're wrong.
You know, everyone has their own opinions on things.
Some of them wrong opinions.
Some of them not as on equal value as Chris's opinion. But I thought it was a fun movie. I also had a really shitty day yesterday, and so it couldn't have gotten any worse.
I guess that's true. That's the funny thing is that you had I think overall pretty good week and a really shitty single day. I'd had a very shitty week without like the concentrated horribleness that was your life.
Yes.
But maybe that was part of the problem. I went into it with like not the best mindset to begin with, and I just
yes.
All I will say is this: I'm not going to be glad. I will never be glad that Stan Lee is dead, but I'm glad that he wasn't here to live in a world where Fantastic Beasts does well and makes money.
On that note, it is very sad for us to announce that Stan Lee passed away this week.
Yeah.
It was very emotional for everyone in the nerd community.
I wasn't as affected by it as I thought I was going
really,
to be.
It ruined my day. Because this is a death I'd been dreading for years. I remember having conversations in college.
We all knew it was coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I think there was I want to say like freshman year, there was some article on Comic Book Movie talking about like Stan Lee meeting Obama, and me and my roommate at the time, Ian, were like, oh, when Stan Lee passes, because we assumed it was during Obama's time. When Stan Lee passes, Obama better make it like a holiday, like Stan Lee Day or Comic Day or something. And so we've always kind of had that thought behind it, and now it's finally happened. And
I don't think we're gonna get a holiday.
No,
unfortunately. I don't know. I mean, cause my cousin Nico actually texted me. It's like, did you hear about Stan Lee? I'm like, oh, I assume means he did. He died.
I heard. I had a handful of messages.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like it's weird. A lot of this stuff just doesn't really affect me.
Usually, most of the time, celebrity deaths don't. I think just because like this is the one that I'd been dreading for so long that like when it happened, and not only when it happened, but like having all of my friends also kind of be affected by it in one way or another. I think
everyone
kind
of reacted to it.
Yeah,
There's been some really,
my whole circle down.
Yeah, lots of really fantastic like posts and like fan art and stuff about the whole thing. And I think regardless of his actual work in comics, like probably the biggest loss is just the positivity that he always brought to everything, like that exuberance, that energy, and the fact that he helped open up kind of like an entire generation and several generations of readers to characters that weren't necessarily like them. I think he helped bring a lot of diversity to comics, which is really fantastic. So I'm always curious when a figure like this passes away, like how do we address their legacy? Because
there's a lot of controversy around Stan.
Well, that's exactly it.
Especially in what he created.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a pretty, if you know comics, it's a pretty well-known fact at this point that he basically completely fucked over Jack Kirby in particular. When all this stuff was getting created, and he was kind of notorious for basically like doing none of the work and just signing his name on it and being kind of the showman and the glory hog. And so when someone passes like this, like I'm always curious how you address that. Like, how do you acknowledge their positivity and show respect to somebody while also recognizing that they had some negative influence in their life too?
Yes. The more I kind of learn about art culture and old comic culture, it starts to make more sense about what Stan did. And obviously what he did was wrong, taking credit for other people's work. But in the 60s particularly, writers never had their name on a single thing.
Yeah.
I think I don't think I told
writers never had their name on anything.
No, I think I told you this story. It was probably off air, but it was oh god, I don't remember who. Some YouTuber made a video. I don't remember who it was, talking about the first writer that got his name in a book, and it was to deal with the comic code that said you couldn't have not paranormal, but supernatural beings in books anymore. And so the writer's name was someone Wolfman, spelt Wolfman.
Yeah.
And so they used his name to get around showing a wolfman, showing a werewolf in that comic.
Yeah.
And so they talked about it, which they couldn't even do. But since they put the writer's name on the cover, I'm going to say Danny Wolfman was his name.
Sure.
I don't think that was his first name. But since they said Danny Wolfman in the comic, they could say, "Oh, I saw this. I'm telling you the story I'm telling you the Wolfman's story," and getting around.
Oh, interesting.
And since he was the first one to get his name publicized.
Okay.
And then of course that was the influx of like, oh well, if he's getting his name in his book, I want my credit for the stuff that I'm writing. So that caused that huge influx. And then obviously in the 70s and 80s, when you had kind of single writer published books, you had the big Frank Millers and all those, it changed everything.
Yeah. So it was.
Oh, and then with the art thing, sorry. There's an artist. I think he's the richest artist in the world in history. Daniel Hirsch, something Hirsch.
Okay.
I know we have a lot of art critics and teachers listening, and I'm sorry if I get any of these facts wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Daniel Hirsch. He's credited for making the most expensive piece of art of all time.
Okay.
Which is For the Love of God, and it's a human skull covered in diamonds.
Okay, I think this sounds kind of familiar.
I've brought it up a few times.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, For the Love of God.
What's his name?
Damien Hirst.
Damien Hirst. Damien Hirst is also infamous for having his not proteges, but having his apprentices do 99.5% of the work.
Okay.
And him just finishing it, doing like one line and signing his name on it, and then it's selling for, $1 million. And that's just kind of how a lot of artists do. And artists of all throughout history have been doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's not ever really brought up, and I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
And I think with Stan and Jack Kirby, Stan was just living in that mentality still.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is something to be said for taking in context for this sort of stuff. I still don't think he's bad to say like Bob Kane.
Right.
Oh man, what a dick. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that was a thought that occurred to me when everyone was kind of talking about everything he created, and I was like, well, did he though? But again, outside of the credit of who created what was, if you will, like, I think his legacy will stand for much more than just what he created, but kind of more just like the persona that he exuded and the positivity that he inspired.
Yes. So. And also, I know you can't compare one bad doing to another bad doing, but do you know the history of the later years of Stan? And like WoW Comics or POW Comics?
Was that when he was he like basically fired from Marvel more or less at one point? And
he left Marvel and started his own comic company.
Yeah.
Called POW with his partner, and his partner stole all the money and fled the country.
Oh yeah, this does ring a bell.
Yeah, so like multiple times in his career, Stan has been like thoroughly fucked over.
Yeah.
But again, you can't compare one wrongdoing to another wrongdoing.
No, but it's also nice that stuff like the movie cameos kind of helped keep him in the zeitgeist, and I think also just helped keep him like relevant and productive and doing stuff.
Absolutely.
For a long time past, when a lot of people would just kind of fade into kind of obscurity, it kept him around. No, I mean I'm glad we had him. Obviously,
yes.
And it is sad to think of that before too long we'll get a Marvel movie where he doesn't have a cameo in it. It is sad to think of him as not having that kind of presence.
I know. Because I don't think I ever told the story on air. I met Stan twice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The first time was my very first Comic-Con. I ran into Stan Lee. He was just walking the floor because that's what he did. Like there are many stories of him trying to escape his security detail just so he could walk the floor in peace, which sounds so great.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this like 87-year-old man trying to like juke out 4 giant bodyguards. It's just such a great mental image.
Too. It totally fits him.
But yeah, I was walking the floor and I bumped into him, and it just it was Stan Lee, and I was a 14-year-old kid that didn't know what he was doing, and so I was beyond starstruck, where I just couldn't make words, and I just started bowing to him, and not once, but just like over and over again,
like repeatedly.
Bowing. Yes. And he just started laughing, and he gave me a hug, and he's like, "Keep doing what you're doing, kid." Like, thanks, Stan. And then the second time, it was just a random signing that I was lucky enough to win there was like a lottery to get him to sign something that you owned. And I'm like, sure, I'll enter. Why not? And I won. And I was like the last person in line.
Oh my God.
And no, I was the second to last person, because the last person took the worst photo ever, where it was me and then just like Stan's nose. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God.
It's the one that I posted on Instagram. It's more than his nose, but it's just like is small amount of face as you can to still recognize it's Stan Lee. But
what did you have him sign?
It was a book that I had just bought because I didn't have any like Marvel stuff with me.
Yeah.
And so it was some. Oh God, what was it? I still have it.
Well, at least it wasn't something random. Like at least it was something Marvel related. It wasn't
yes,
like, can you sign my Batman comic?
No, it was when Marvel. Oh God, you're gonna hate me for this so much. It's when Marvel tried to work their way into the manga industry, and Stan teamed up with a bunch of Japanese artists and writers to make. I don't think I've actually read the comic, but it's been. I have. Well,
of course not. It's a collector's item now. It's signed.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he did like a 3-part series, some manga series.
Huh.
Yeah.
That sounds like Marvel and Stan Lee.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it was right when Marvel was just getting into all things Japanese. So you had the Iron Man animated series, the Wolverine animated series coming out overseas. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Never seen any of those.
Neither have I.
What? You baffle me sometimes. Like, this seems completely in your wheelhouse.
I know, doesn't it?
I don't even know what to say to you.
Yeah. How about some news? Because we have a lot of news this week.
Well, I think one worth mentioning is we are getting Young Justice a lot sooner than we expected.
Yes.
January 4th.
I'm so excited.
I'm almost not prepared for it yet. It's like I've only seen Young Justice once all the way through. I feel like I need to kind of give it a revisit, and now I'm like, where's the time? It's
I'm going to talk about Young Justice a lot today with this Titans episode.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Because I've only, like I said, seen it once, so there's a lot of the details that I forget. But I'm like, I got to go back and do a revisit on it. And now I'm thinking like, are we going to incorporate it into the podcast?
Well, that'll be saved for another.
I know, but I think
because it's only a 2-week break from when Titans ends.
I know.
We get Young Justice, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is part of their strategy of more or less trying to keep one new show at a time for now until they can get it out even faster. But, to try and keep the funnel of new content going.
You think, are we going to get Harley next?
No, Harley's not till like way later.
I think it's
maybe,
next Christmas.
Maybe Swamp Thing? Or maybe Doom Patrol after that.
Well, I feel like they're still filming Doom Patrol.
But I think they're also still filming Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Harley's animated. That's why I assumed.
Yeah,
that was
but
next.
it was pretty far down the line.
Okay.
I want to say it was like fall of 2019 even before it was coming out.
Okay.
It was way down there because they had a rough schedule, and I just don't remember what else was on it.
Then it's probably Doom Patrol next. They'll probably switch live action animated to live action animated.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, until they can kind of get it.
Because Swamp Thing's the only thing we don't have a teaser for yet.
This is true.
So I assume that would be last. And I feel like that's going to be the most special effects heavy.
Let's see here. DC Universe
schedule.
Release schedule. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Titans Young Justice. Yeah, Doom Patrol, which they're going to play from like February through June. And then,
wow. So it's going to run concurrent.
Yeah, and then we're going to get more Young Justice in June along with Swamp Thing. And then, Stargirl in September.
Oh.
And then Harley and Stargirl are going to cross over a bit at the end of next year. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Let's see what else. What else we got news wise? Oh, I mean, neither of us watch Supergirl. You watched it for a bit.
I watched the first season.
Yeah. So they announced a while ago they're going to have Lex Luthor on the show, and they finally announced who it's going to be. And it's an interesting choice.
Yes.
So it's John Cryer. So for those of you who don't know who that person is off just the name, his most famous role, I would say, is the brother on 2.5 Men, the non-Charlie Sheen one.
Yeah.
And he is like a really impressive comedic talent. And I will always maintain that if you can do comedy, you can do drama.
But he's just so, like, I feel like they've been bulking up Lex over the past decade that it's weird to imagine him being like a lean
except
person
for
again. Jesse
Eisenberg. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so all the photos have been circulating around it are of him now where his head is shaved and he's got a beard going on. I mean, he looks like he could do it. I think he's got the chops for it. And then on top of it, they do love to do legacy casting. What?
I was looking at a picture of the bald what's his name?
John Cryer.
John Cryer, and it made me think because he kind of looks like Bill Burr.
And a little bit, yeah. Bill Burr
to be Lex Luthor.
My God, what insanity that'd
be the greatest. They would just not even give him a script.
No, they just let him do his thing.
You're fighting Superman. Superman, that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Superman.
All of a sudden, Supergirl has to shift over to DC Universe to accommodate all the language. But so they love to do legacy casting, and so he was like Lex Luthor's cousin Lenny Luthor in Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Great,
a movie I have not seen in a long time, but I remember enjoying it as a kid. I don't know.
How old is John Cryer?
He's 50 something, I want to say.
Okay. Because that movie came out
80. I want to say 87.
He was
I'm not
young
sure off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, but he was also in he was in some John Hughes movies. I think he was in Pretty in Pink. Wasn't he Ducky? I've never seen the movie actually.
I believe so. I'll pull up his.
Yeah. It's funny thing is I actually saw John Cryer at Comic-Con years ago.
Oh wow.
I was part of like a massive crowd like crossing the street to get in the convention center. I look over and he's there with his kid. And again, it was one of those things where pretty much I always do this. Where I didn't say anything because as much as I know how to play it cool, I don't want to then like announce in front of a crowd of people there's a celebrity amongst the midst just because like he's there with his kid. He's clearly just trying to enjoy Comic-Con. So I didn't talk to him. But it's weird, but I'm down for it actually. I'm on board. I think the CW for the most part, even though I haven't really watched in a while, has been pretty good about their casting choices.
Yeah, I'm looking at his IMDb. Apparently he does some voices in Justice League Action, which is still going on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's Felix Faust.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's kind of his most recent DC adventure.
I'm on board for it. Part of me still thinks maybe I should jump in on Supergirl, but then you did and you weren't super keen on it, so maybe I won't.
He was in Danny Phantom.
He was? Who was he in Danny Phantom?
He was Freak Show.
I don't remember Freak Show.
Freak Show was the goth villain. He had a staff that could control ghosts and goth kids.
That's fantastic.
He was great.
Love it. Another thing, we got a rumor about a potential director for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in Travis Knight, who did Kubo, which both of us really love.
Yes, I will. Oh, it's so pretty.
And then now he directed Bumblebee, which I have high hopes for, mostly because of Kubo.
As do I.
But if this turns out to be true, I think it's a pretty solid choice.
Is he also going to write it?
No, I think they're still going to they're probably going to use James Gunn's script and then do some tweaks on it. They'll probably bring another writer to do a polish on it. I don't know if Travis Knight is a writer or not. I forget.
I don't know.
But I think that's a really hard role to fill for obvious reasons.
Yes.
Because I think in most people's mine included, this shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, it's James. I feel like the Guardians are James Gunn's characters.
Yeah. But I think that's not a bad choice. I think he's got talent. I think we'll see how Bumblebee does. But if it does well, I think he would have like a decent amount of credibility. I think a lot of people will be like, okay, like he's actually pretty talented. He's done good stuff before.
He's capable of taking over a franchise.
Yeah.
And putting his own spin on it.
Well, and also he's young enough that you can kind of be like, well, okay, this is someone, a talented filmmaker getting a chance to do like a movie on an even bigger scale and like advance his career. So you can't really, on some level, begrudge him for doing it if he chooses.
Speaking of age, sorry to super random tangent.
Well, we never do that. So
never. First time for everything. How old do you think Brian Lee O'Malley was when he first published Scott Pilgrim? Kind of hurt me yesterday when I saw this.
I don't know, 25?
He's 24.
Wow.
And he'd already published another comic before then. Lost at Sea, he published when he was 23.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Cameron, you are 25.
I know.
All right.
He already published 2 comics.
Okay, but there's still time for you to accomplish great things.
I know.
Yeah, I'm already eyeing retirement homes at this point. So, and we did have some trailers this week, too.
I feel like you're skipping all the things that I want to talk about.
Well, I thought I said we had some trailers this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a lot of trailers.
I think a lot of the trailers is stuff you want to talk about.
I do want to talk about them.
Then what the fuck?
What are we talking about, Chris?
No, you tell me, Cameron. You tell me. I'm railroading the conversation here.
Oh,
so.
Great. So we have 2 Disney things, which are great. We have a teaser for Toy Story 4.
Yes.
We had a new character, I guess, who's Forky. And the internet's going crazy. I don't really care.
It's an interesting idea. It's the first time we're seeing a custom toy.
Yes.
Which I think is fun. A fun new concept.
Because was it you and I that had the conversation of where you go with Toy Story from here?
We probably had that conversation.
Because they've had, being replaced, becoming collector's items, and then just being forgotten.
Yeah.
It's kind of the history of a toy. Where do you go from there? And the story I was hoping they were going to go with was, since the toys are kind of growing up with the audience, what do you do when kids prefer electronics over toys now? How do you handle that?
Oh, okay.
But I think they're going in the same concept, but in the opposite route of DIY taking over.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why buy what I can make?
How do we incorporate Etsy into the Toy Story universe?
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. It's an interesting idea, certainly. Because I think the bulk of the story is supposed to be about them finding Little Bo Peep.
Yes.
I think. But I don't know, I think this is a clever idea to include in there. I mean, there's not much to the teaser trailer. It's basically just like all of them dancing around in a circle and then Forky. I was looking at the cast list, and I'm trying to remember. Mr. Potato Head was voiced by Don Rickles, right?
Yes.
Did he die?
I think so.
Because I didn't see a voice actor listed for Mr. Potato Head.
They might have just not put the whole list up yet.
Yeah, Don Rickles, Mr. Potato Head. Did he die? I thought he was alive. Oh, yeah, he died.
Oh, too bad.
I wonder what they're going to do with that then, if they're just going to use old sound bites from him. No voice.
I feel like I mean, Potato Head has a decent role. I guess not in 3.
Yeah.
He had a decent role in 1 and 2.
I think what could be clever is if they lose his mouth. And so he's like a silent pantomime character through the whole thing. And then maybe at the end they finally find it and he gets like one line in there.
Or
old footage.
when they lose his mouth, they replace it with a Miss Potato Head mouth. So then she's just doing both voices.
That could be pretty fun, actually. Yeah, that'd be very, very clever.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're so clever, Cameron.
Thanks. So we got that trailer. We got a second trailer for Dumbo, which looks fascinating.
My God. Like that gave me all the feels.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, the whole movie is just a depressing film.
Yeah, it's just like that poor baby elephant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I'm just super excited for a new version of Baby Mine because I love that song.
Yeah.
And then just to see Tim Burton just go crazy for Elephants on Parade.
Yeah.
Like, I'm expecting that to be like a 10-minute number for him.
Well, because this isn't a remake, though. This is a sequel.
I think it's...
Isn't it? Isn't it like set after the events of the first one?
I think it will continue past the first one. But I think a lot of it is still setting up the beginning. Because in this trailer, we meet Timothy Mouse. We see...
Two?
Yeah. At the very beginning of the trailer, the two kids come in and take the cloth off the rat cage. And it's a mouse in the hat and vest.
I forgot that part entirely.
I watched it like an hour ago.
Oh, okay.
For some reason I remember. We get Timothy Mouse. We see Miss Jumbo being carted away, which is part of the movie.
Oh, okay. It's okay. Never mind.
Yeah, you see him in the clown face paint, which is part of the movie. We've seen everything except the racist crows.
Right. I did see a great meme, and it was Dumbo wearing his clown paint, and then a photo of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. It's like that feeling when you both wear the same costume to a party.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Pretty good. But I mean that trailer just on its own is like very emotional. I feel like the movie's gonna just wreck me.
Oh, it's gonna destroy many people.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, the passing of real life living legends doesn't have any effect on me whatsoever, but a CG
when an
baby
elephant loses its mom.
Yeah, who gets like mildly tussled around by a kind of obnoxious guy, just right to the fields.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you saw Dumbo?
I've never seen Dumbo.
Really?
No.
Oh, man, you're in for some emotional gut punches then.
I bet I am.
Because there's nothing happy about anything in that movie.
It's kind of what I've heard.
Except when he... So a lot of people like play up how much he flies in the original Dumbo. He only flies for the last 30 seconds of the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The whole movie is him just getting... Because in Disney trivia time, his name isn't Dumbo. His name is Jumbo Jr., They call him Dumbo because everyone is making fun of him and his big ears.
But like they're just playing off the word dumb?
Yeah.
That's not very clever. Why would they call the movie that?
Because they want people to forget that his name is Jumbo Jr.
That's just a fine name.
Mm-hmm. And so like everyone makes fun of him. His mom tries to protect him. And when they do that, they lock her up.
Yeah.
And that's when you sing Baby Mine. And then since he's the smallest of the elephants, he's going on the top of the... He's basically like a free diver.
Yeah.
But as an elephant, where he stands on top of all of the other creatures and has to jump into like a tiny pool. And that's when he's in the clown makeup.
Oh.
He can't fly yet, by the way. That's a big point here. He doesn't know how to fly. And so he's too scared to do it. And so the ringleader is like abusing him. And then he meets Timothy Mouse and they get drunk. And that's when you get Elephants on Parade. And then he wakes up with a feather, one of the crow's feathers, and you have the Jim Crows.
Jim Crows, I know.
Yeah. And then they're like, have you ever seen an elephant fly? And then he flies and the movie ends.
What the fuck?
Right?
Oh, God.
There's nothing happy about that movie.
Well, don't worry. They're going to stretch it out to a solid 2 hours of just pure sadness.
Yep. But the biggest news of this week, which got the whole internet in a tizzy.
Oh my God, yeah. I got a text about this actually.
Oh man, I don't know if I just like went crazy on my company when this trailer came out, but I was so excited. We got a trailer for Detective Pikachu, voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
I remember when they announced that, I'm like, what?
Well, do you remember who was so we got the Japanese game trailer first.
Okay.
Because it was Kin Watanabe. was doing the Japanese voice,
Love Ken
and so everyone wanted it to be like that deep voice.
Yeah.
And so then there was a fan campaign to get Danny DeVito to voice Pikachu,
Oh my god.
which someone made.
They did?
Yeah, someone cut clips from the trailer and put in Always Sunny audio.
Oh, I gotta go
while
watch that.
Pikachu was talking, and it's so good. But Ryan Reynolds is amazing in it.
He looks really, really good.
I'm so excited for this movie.
It looks, because I kind of actively dislike Pokemon, actually. Like, I think I'm just beyond ambivalence, slightly into the negative camp, actually. And I don't have any good reason to. I've just never given two shits about Pokemon.
Well, I feel like you're there was a comedian that talked about it, of like, if you're over 30, then the people that played Pokemon were either your younger siblings or the kids you just hated.
Well, so that's the funny thing is, one, I'm not over 30, asshole. And
Aren't you like 37?
yeah, well, spiritually, I'm even older than that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, that's the funny thing is, my older brother had Pokemon cards. I just never heard it.
Wow.
He never really played Pokemon, mind you.
Okay.
And none of us ever really watched it either. But yeah, like it was huge for my younger cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Never my thing. It's never my thing. I was like, don't give a shit.
It's all right. I was obsessive enough for multiple people.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You usually are pretty good about that.
Yes.
Do you need someone to be obsessed about something? Don't worry, Cameron's got your back.
I got you guys. Don't worry. Yeah, the
Do you
trailer.
need someone to love Harry Potter and never have read a single one of the books? Don't worry, Cameron's got you.
Don't worry. I've listened to the book 7 times.
God damn it.
But so sorry, we're stretching news out way longer than we should. I just want to do one quick list of things.
Okay.
Because as I was on IMDb this morning trying to find trailers that I missed, all of the Christmas movie trailers came out at the same time. And when scrolling through, there were 41 trailers.
Holy shit.
For just this year.
Oh
coming
my
out in the next
God.
5 weeks.
Oh my god.
And I'm going to do a quick readout
All
of
right.
some of my favorites. We're starting with Magic Christmas Ornaments, Christmas in Vermont starring Chevy Chase, Christmas in the Smokies, Miss Christmas, Home for Christmas Day, Christmas with a Prince, My Christmas Prince, Christmas Calendar, Finding Santa, 9 Lives of Christmas, A Very Merry Mix-Up, 48 Christmas Wishes, Christmas Switch, Christmas Catch, Mistletoe Promise, Enchanted Christmas, Hometown Holiday, Snowed in Christmas, not Snowed in Christmas,
Okay, worth clarifying.
and Christmas Under Wraps.
What about Christmas Chronicles, the Netflix one?
And
with
Christmas Chronicles.
Kurt
that's
Russell.
that's what I'm most excited for. But
Oh my god. It's easier to spread across like Hallmark and Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and all the streaming services.
and Freeform.
Freeform, of course. Yeah. They probably have a dozen all on their own.
And I'm so excited to watch every one of them.
Oh my god. Well, I know what all of your plugs will be for the next
5
month.
weeks. So I watched 6 Christmas movies yesterday.
Oh my god. Well, you know what? Someone has to watch them.
Yeah.
Thank God they have you.
Yeah. But that's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay.
Are you ready to start the episode?
Yeah, I think we can get to it now. So we just have one per our new system. While Titan's going on, we just have one Batman Beyond episode this week. Terry's friend dates a robot.
I loved this episode, Chris.
I had mixed feelings about it.
I think so. When the episode opens, I saw it was written by Paul Dini.
I saw that too.
And I'm like,
Always a good sign.
Yeah. It might be his worst episode, but I loved it so much.
I will say I'm glad it was in his hands because I think he does bring spark to it.
I'll repeat, it's his least best episode.
I think that's a good way of putting it. And look, I mean, the plot is basically right there in the title. It's just like one of Terry's kind of loser friends can't get a date, and so he dates a robot who is too loyal to him. And so as soon as other girls start getting an interest in him, the robot fights back and chaos ensues. It's...
You know why I loved it so much?
Why?
This could have been an episode of Danny Phantom or an episode of Kim Possible.
Yeah, it does.
And it's the first time it felt like one of those shows.
It does feel like, exactly, this feels like a kid's show plot line that we'd see somewhere. And I was trying to think about whether this works or not. You know, 'cause I think we can always give the writers the benefit of the doubt of trying to make sure their characters are given empathy and depth. And I think especially with someone like Paul Dini, and Dini we trust. You know, you can always count on him for definitely trying to put in the best work. But I don't know. I feel like this show tends to lean on tropes really heavily, but I guess you kind of have to, right? I mean, you got 22 minutes to tell a story. You have to establish characters and arcs and threads and emotions like instantaneously. And the easy way to do that is to lean on our preconceived stereotypes or expectations of something. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense they would just go for the really schlubby loser who doesn't have any self-awareness and can't get a girl and doesn't know why. Well, I guess there's no question in there. That was just,
there is no question.
Statement. I don't know. I mean, did you feel they could have done more to make Howie more sympathetic or more well-rounded, or do you think that this was about all he really could have ever been based on the plot?
I think if they would have introduced him in another episode, where they didn't also have to we didn't have to learn how much of a loser he was while it's all going on.
That's a really good point, actually, because if that become, I mean, I guess
he was just like even a background character, and it's the same thing with Willie Watts. I think we would have cared more if we just saw them in the background. Like in the first episode, we saw not Dash, not Flash,
Nelson Nash.
Nelson. We saw him just like beating up one of these two kids, or like pushing him against the locker, and then Terry kind of loses his cool. And we don't have to see him care about those two, but just see that they're already lower on the food chain.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like in the background of the conversations.
Because I think you're right. Because I think that would have made the whole world feel a bit more fleshed out too. Which is like, oh, it's not just main characters like come back and have some significance. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it felt like they were kind of rehashing similar territory though, because it's yet again another nerdy kid at the high school who wants to get a date and can't, and Blade seems to basically only ever show up when one of those characters appears in the show.
Yeah, he's there. Who's the girl in Weird Science?
Oh, I don't remember.
I mean, that too she is for them though.
Yeah. Kelly LeBrock is the actress.
That's good enough.
I don't remember the characters. I've actually never. Maybe I think I've seen that movie once in its entirety.
Okay, I don't think I've seen it.
It's interesting. It's worth talking about at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it just felt like they were. I guess they were rehashing a character type, even if it wasn't necessarily rehashing a story. But I don't know. It just. I mean, it had some fun stuff in there, and also, did you catch who voices Howie?
I looked him up, and I didn't recognize him.
I guess you probably wouldn't.
See something from James Bond.
No. So it's Max Brooks.
Okay.
The son of Mel Brooks.
Gotcha.
But I don't think Mel Brooks ever had the same sort of like impact on you that it did on me. Like I don't think have you seen any Mel Brooks movies? So Spaceballs.
Yeah, I love Spaceballs. I've seen Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles,
Young Frankenstein.
I've not seen Young Frankenstein.
It's his best.
Okay, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And then
But those weren't ever like touchstone films for you. Like
Spaceballs was.
Okay.
Spaceballs was kind of my first, because I mean I grew up in the parody era of disaster movie here. Oh God, what are the big ones?
Scary
movies 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Okay, but Mel Brooks was never like a
I know
an icon for you to say like.
Oh yes, I agree.
Yeah, like because I grew up knowing who Mel Brooks was and always loving like everything associated with the producers, obviously, and then so his son Max, super interesting guy because he wrote World War Z. And he does some voice acting, and he's basically an expert on like military strategy and military history, and he has a residency at, I want to say, Annapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, like he teaches military courses at military colleges.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a really, really interesting, fascinating. I've listened to a couple podcasts, interviews with him. He's a very interesting character. But I forgot that he did like voiceover work. It's so random to see him throw it in there. So
yeah,
a little shout out there for Max Brooks.
I think we're glossing over a very important topic, that Gotham has an underground sex robot market.
Yeah, this is
which is so topical to today. Actually,
it is. Actually, we're basically there, and yeah, I mean,
we are there.
We are there.
Houston has banned sex robots.
The town,
Houston, Texas had a big, because someone wanted to open up a a robot brothel.
Jesus
And I
Christ.
wish I was making this story up, but I am not. Houston, Texas wanted to open a robot brothel, and the town of Houston said, not just you, but we will never have a robot sex brothel anywhere, and
Wait.
has banned the use of sex robots.
Like anywhere? Like it's
Well,
illegal
in your
to...
private house, you can have
Okay,
it.
it's
Yeah.
illegal to possess. I'm gonna be honest, this sounds like a Florida thing.
Yes, this sounds like a Florida story.
But the big difference is if this happened in Florida, it would go ahead.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like instead if it were a Florida story, it'd be like, man accidentally eaten by gator after he passes out at a sex robot brothel.
Yes.
And there's
Florida.
meth involved somewhere in there too, just to round things out. But yeah, Gotham has its own thing because Terry goes to this robot manufacturer, Synth something, to get more training robots. Because there's kind of a cool opening scene where Terry is fighting Killer Croc, Two-Face,
Riddler,
and the Riddler.
Yeah.
All done in that look of the new Batman Adventures, and we realize it's a digital simulation, and then the robots are real. Kind of a fun scene, getting a chance to see all those guys again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, while he's there, he brings along Howie, and Howie's like, "Oh, I'll take one of those." And also along those lines, the guy who makes them is the creepiest looking cartoon.
He looked like John
character.
Waters. I think he was supposed to be John Waters.
He does kind of look like John. Maybe that's a trivia point here too, because he does. Yeah, he looks like he's like somewhere between John Waters and Steve Buscemi.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, two great men.
What? The irony, of course, being both those people are amazing.
Yes.
But what a fucking look that guy has.
Have you seen the SNL skit "Do the Creep"?
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what he was.
Do the creep. Do the creep. I love that song.
Such
actually.
a good song.
I forgot about that song. Oh, gotta go watch that after this. Let's see. I gotta look at a photo of this guy again because it's so disturbing.
Yes. So he's selling sex robots in the back of this Syntho Corp. And so Howie goes to him and is like, "Hey, I want a sex toy, please." So I wrote Night of the Living Sex Robot. Cynthia, he names her Cynthia.
Yeah.
Brings her to school to make everyone jealous
Well-
because he basically wants to have the 1940s mentality of having an attractive woman next to you makes you more popular.
I do have a note about that. Does that work? Is that like...
I don't know. I went to an all-guys school.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't successful at dating in high school at all. Does that work? I mean, I guess it's one of those things like if you're in demand, like, I don't know, if you're already dating someone, then I guess like, oh, like that person's...
Yeah, I mean, you want what you can't have.
Yeah, you always want what you can't have. And like, they're like, quote unquote, like verified or whatever. Like, oh, like, okay.
Well, it's the idea of like, oh, if, I'll use the very horrible number system. If a 6 is dating a 10, other 9s are going to see that and wonder what the 6 has that makes him good enough for a 10.
That's true.
So now the 9s want to get in on it.
Because he gets this robot who has this very stern look on her face all the time. Well, else we didn't acknowledge why she's called Cynthia.
Yeah, Syntho.
He's like, oh, it's a Cynthia. Yeah, Cynthia.
Nailed it.
God, well done, Howie.
But I think my favorite one of those will always be in Family Guy when Peter's trying to make up a name.
Yes.
A peas on his plate. Someone's crying. P-tier. And then a fucking Griffin. Griffin. Peter Griffin.
Yeah, damn it. That is the best one.
It's like peak Family Guy right there.
Peak Family Guy was many, many years ago.
Yes.
But I guess this is yet another episode where women are treated like objects of desire and to be possessed.
Yes.
And owned.
Yes.
And I don't feel like there's enough commentary to point out why that's all bad. There's
Correct.
a little bit from Terry, but that's him more just being like, don't you think you're being shallow? Not being like, don't you think you can like exist and be self-confident on your own without the validation? without the need to like show off by having a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it was very much him showing off. It was a lot of like using women to raise his social status.
Yeah, I guess that's it. It's a lot of these stories are along the lines of using women for something, raise social status, sex, kind of alluded to in this case as well.
It's a very like dirty episode too.
Well, it is, yeah, because like at one point there's like the big house party at the end of the episode, and Cynthia is dragging Howie off to the bed.
Howie drags Cynthia because he wants to talk to her about.
Oh,
not
right,
hitting his
and
friends.
and Charles like, oh, what are you guys up to, huh?
And then you hear Howie, doors closed, and you hear Howie like, "No, Cynthia, don't touch! Stop touching me!"
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and then the two outside who are very much the stoners, because they're sitting on the stair with just a bowl of Cheetos.
Yep,
talking very slow.
Good old Cheetos.
And like, sounds like Howie's having a good time in there. I'm like, wow, all right, so we're going all in on this, aren't we?
Yeah. But okay, but what did you like about it? Like, because you said you really liked this episode.
Just
like,
because it felt so much like it, like this. I feel like is a plot of a Danny Phantom episode, and I just don't remember it.
It probably is,
because in Kim Possible, you have Killer Bee, who's kind of similar to this character, who's just a female robot who wants to rule the world.
I vaguely recall that. Weren't they like more or less fembots in Kim Possible 1.2?
Probably. I don't think so.
I seem to recall like an army of like gray ladybots.
They were silver with blonde hair, blue eyes.
Okay.
But there was also I doubt this is what you're thinking of, because I don't think you ever watched. Did you ever watch My Life as a Teenage Robot?
I did.
Oh,
I really liked that show.
That's such a good show.
It's a really good show. Yeah.
Because then they also had those robots, the not the Hive, but it was the queen robot from another world who wanted XJ9.
Oh yeah, BB. That's what I'm thinking of. BB. Kim Possible.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the Killer Bees.
Yeah, ladybots. They're basically fembots.
Yeah. They didn't call themselves fembots. I was trying to think of something else.
But like that's the shorthand.
Yes.
They're basically fembots.
Yes.
They probably don't have machine gun nipples
that we know of.
Maybe they did. I don't know. But yeah, that's essentially
There's a reason
what they
they're triangles.
Yeah. Yeah, they've definitely got some like 1960s perky boobs thing going on here.
But that was just the art of Kim Possible, though.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But okay, yeah, see, I was right.
Yes, you were right. I apologize.
God, gotta argue with me on everything, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so but for you, the episode was fun because it fit that mold of like a classic kids cartoon.
Yeah, because
plotline.
This was the first. I feel like this was the least Batman we had in an episode, where it was almost entirely done as Terry.
This is true, yeah.
And that feels very similar to a Danny Phantom episode, where he has to be Danny for the majority of it to try and help.
Yeah.
And then when it gets out of hand, he has to become the Phantom.
It's true. Maybe that's part of it for me. Is maybe it just felt a little bit juvenile. And it seemed like it lacked some nuance. Like it felt like it lacked a level of commentary needed to justify its stereotypes and dated gender politics.
Yes.
But then again, I have to remind myself, of course, it's dated gender politics.
It's
it was made in the year fucking 2000.
Yes. Yeah, so like when we get
the same year you were born.
Same year I wasn't even born yet, man. When we get to the short list, I won't put this on the short list, but I will say like this is I think it's a fun episode if you just need to turn your brain off for a minute.
No, I think it's fair. I think it is. I think it's
if you want the feel of a Saturday morning cartoon,
yeah.
I feel like this is the best example so far.
I think it is fun. I think it's mostly harmless. Because how he does get like his just desserts and the whole thing because
his house blows up.
Yeah, because Cynthia goes crazy and like my God, that robot.
Oh, I even
did
wrote
a lot of damage.
I wrote she got friend zoned to death.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, oh, we can just be friends. And then she just like goes crazy.
She blows up.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a little a little bit much. But yeah, when she blows up, she takes like the whole house with her. And I was like, how much explosive? Like, what is she powered by that would blow up in that way?
Power of love, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then, of course, Howie's parents have to come in at the end there and be like, what did you do to the house?
Well, because I was most concerned when Batman first shows up, and he just punches her through the TV, the wall-sized TV.
Oh, yeah, the flat screen TV.
And I just gasped. Because, like, in 2000, flat screens were expensive still.
They were, yeah. I mean, you could barely even get a flat screen in 2000.
I remember when my mom got our first flat screen, and it was, like, $6,000 to $8,000.
Yeah, they were crazy.
And she was so
expensive.
proud of it. She sold the pool table for it. And Mom, if you're listening, I still hold a grudge against you selling that pool table.
Well, if my parents are listening, I know they weren't. Thanks, guys, for keeping the pool table and the flat screen for a while. But my parents did eventually sell our pool table too.
Oh man,
what a horrible childhoods we had, Cameron, to be given in-home pool tables.
It's amazing.
Only to have them taken away from us.
It's amazing I haven't become a supervillain yet.
It's insane.
I haven't become pool master.
Ooh.
Or I'd shave my head and become Cue Ball.
Cue Ball, that's a great name for a villain.
I feel like that has to be a villain already.
Looking it up. Also, what is going on outside right now?
There's some dog. I don't want to say dog fighting.
But so listeners, as you well know, like I live in West Hollywood, record at my apartment, and there are nothing but dogs in West Hollywood. Everyone has a dog. We have a dog in our apartment. He's lovely.
Yes, and quiet.
And quiet. That's the thing. Yogi's very quiet. He's very well behaved. But yeah, there's some dog in the neighborhood who can't like see a leaf on the ground without just going into a full-on yapping, barking fit. And this is I'll wake up early, but this is happening at like 6 o'clock in the morning sometimes. You can hear their owner being like, no, like don't, shh, no, and like try harder.
Yeah.
All right. Some of us are already awake, but wish we were still sleeping.
I told you about the fucking crows, right?
You have like crows like caw outside your apartment, right?
Not just caw, but like full on mating call at all times of the morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those goddamn horny crows.
5 a.m. That's booty call time for crows.
Yeah. I'm still trying to see if there's a villain.
Cue Ball. Did you type in Cue Ball villain?
No.
Did you type in Cue Ball?
Chris. I also forget how to spell cue ball sometimes.
Cueball.
I know how to spell ball. I was like Q-U-E.
Q-U-E-U-E.
8-Ball is a character.
Yeah, I
Cue Ball is a Dick Tracy character.
There we go.
Cue Ball is a Dick Tracy character.
I knew I'd heard it before.
Villains of the Multiverse. Update. I don't think that's anything official. It looks like a fan art sort of thing. Yeah, but okay, there's an 8-Ball who is Comic Vine. What comic is 8-Ball from?
Ooh, no, I'm changing it because I'm digging my alliteration from recently.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the billiard bully.
What about the billiard ball buster?
That's a good one too.
The billiard bully. I like that though.
The billiard bully. It sounds so non-threatening.
The bulliard ball?
No.
I tried.
That's another.
She tries.
Well, let's move on to Titans because I think we've covered.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go. We have a few minutes to spare.
It's okay.
How would you change this episode if you could?
Okay.
Write me this script for 2018.
Okay, so I mean, I guess
because I have an idea.
Okay, so let's say we're gonna still keep it with like the nerdy guy who can't get a girl. One, I wouldn't make him so nerdy looking and dorky. I would maybe try and make him a little bit more just kind of like a normal guy who just like isn't successful. Like, and is like because we all know those people. I refer to them as social predators, which sounds in hindsight worse than it intends to be. But it's like those people who you know who are really, really friendly, but they're just kind of meh. And I could see him being maybe one of those kind of guys where it's just like, he's nice, but like he's not the sort of person you really want to date necessarily. And so he kind of gets to the last resort. I mean, also maybe you got to like make it beyond just, a guy lusting after a girl. Maybe we got to be a little more modern about it. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's a girl lusting after.
Because that's the story I want.
Maybe it's a girl lusting after a guy. Or maybe it's like a guy lusting after another guy, right? I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like we need to change it up a little bit. I just, my big thing is trying to avoid tropes and trying to avoid having women be objects of desire and status.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That might be a little more interesting. Maybe it also doesn't have to be like about romance per se. Maybe it has more just be like, you know, wanting to be part of like the cool circle of friends.
Robot cult.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's it. Maybe like so your solution is like to have like that super awesome friends. Like you're like, oh, this is my buddy, and everyone's like, I don't know, he's like a robot Fonzie or something like that, to use a super dated reference trying to describe a modernized version of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone just like wants to hang at that friend. All of a sudden, then you just like kind of getting pushed aside a little bit. And then it becomes more about your like maybe jealousy coming back into play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the way I'd approach it. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I wouldn't have it be about romance. But just have it be about someone who's a little bit of a social outcast who wants to be considered cool. And they can't really make themselves cool, so they're going to be cool by association.
Mm-hmm.
And they get like a sweet, cool James Dean style robot, to use another super dated reference.
So I just realized why I say this is similar to a Kim Possible episode.
Is this a Kim Possible episode?
This is a Kim Possible episode.
Really?
This is the Kim Possible movie. This is So the Drama.
Is it?
Yes, but with gender switch.
Okay.
Because we mentioned that, I'm like, hold on, I've seen this episode before. And yes, Dr. Draken creates a syntho drone, which is why it all felt so familiar.
Yeah.
That is a hot teenage guy that goes to school with Kim and asks Kim to the prom before Ron can.
Oh, this all sounds very familiar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in an attempt to distract her while Draken works on his plan uninterrupted.
Oh, okay. Because I have seen So the Drama once.
Yes.
Way back in the day.
Oh, it's so good. I'm not going to say it's better than Stitch in Time, but it's on par, at least.
Why did this thing chime? Oh, I had the volume on.
Because you're a poor podcaster.
Because I am. I muted my iPad. I'm still getting notifications. God damn it. Okay, I'm looking at So the Drama here. Where's... Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he's hunky.
What's his name again?
Oh, God. I don't know.
It's not important. I'm going to go with Tony. It's not Tony.
Nakasumi?
No, that's the robot manufacturer. At the beginning of the episode / movie, Draken steals plans for a new toy from Takasumi Corp, which is then thwarted by Kim. And then
Eric,
that's it. Eric.
Oh,
yep.
Eric.
Well,
there we go. Now we know.
Yes.
It's been done.
It's been done much better too.
And done better.
Because God, So the Drama is so good.
It's one of those things I should go revisit at some point.
I think everyone should.
Yeah, I do want to go back and watch Kim Possible. 'Cause remember that being a show that was really fun.
It's all on the Disney app.
Oh yeah, man, gotta get on it.
Yeah.
All right, so Titans.
Guys, I didn't hate it this week.
You didn't.
I didn't hate it this week.
Okay, what'd you like about it?
It was still worse than the Young Justice episode.
Okay, because you made references before we started recording, or maybe while we were recording. I don't remember. What was the Young Justice version of this?
It's the same one that we talked about with Robin's Reckoning. The one where he goes back to the circus undercover.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. That plot element. I was thinking.
Yes.
I thought you were referencing the Jason Todd element.
No. Sorry, not the Robins.
Okay.
No, because the ending specifically, kind of made me frustrated after the whole fiasco when he's with the weightlifter.
Yeah.
I forgot his name already.
Clyde? No, what does matter? Atlas, I think was the character, the weightlifter.
Sure, we'll go with that. When he reveals that he is Robin, and then because he's kind of the brawn over brain, he's like, "Oh, well, does Bruce know that you're Robin?"
Oh, yeah.
I did not like that at all.
I kind of liked it.
And I love it so much more when in the Young Justice episode when Dick is kind of back doing his stunts and is Robin, where the ringleader,
I think it's Haley, right?
Yeah. So Haley was there.
Yeah.
And he knew just from his movements. He's like, when I see a Grayson fly, you never forget it.
Yeah.
And
It's a
that's
very
so
sweet
much more
moment.
heartwarming
Yeah, it is.
than having to like explain everything.
Because that's coming from a place of like an emotional pull rather than like, oh, we're gonna end on a joke.
Yeah. And I wish they would have done the emotional side of it, because this episode, not a lot of emotion, and I feel like that would have, because even when you see the death of all of his circus mates, he's
not
flat
very affected
still.
by it. Yeah. Also, can we just talk about the casting choices on this?
Mm-hmm.
So, specifically when they got to that scene where it's the opening sequence is the funeral of John and Mary Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
And my first note was, why is Bruce not there? And they explain it, that Dick hasn't yet gone to live with him.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, so they clearly put out a casting call for like people who look like they could be in a circus, but look kind of normal enough to pass off as normal people, but just not quite.
It was
like circus folk light.
It was the background actors from Greatest Showman.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Because I think two of the people were from Greatest Showman.
Yeah, they had that look of like, okay, you look circus-esque, but like you look like you're supposed to clearly be part of a circus, but you don't actually look like
you
you're
look
part
like
of a
you
circus.
could walk around and a few people would look at you.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't like stop.
Yeah, it's just such a weird casting decision that they brought all of them back for like a hot second because they all got killed by the son of Tony Zuko, who's now using the Maroney crime family's method of acid bullets.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Fucking acid bullets, like
that's a calling card right there.
Because I get it. All right, so the Maroney crime family, their whole thing is acid. They even make reference to Two-Face, the ropes that cut through, or the acid just cut through ropes.
Dick even references that Zuko's nickname was the Melting Man.
Oh, I forgot that part. Okay, yes, you're right. So it's all there, but then like that to me made sense. But then as soon as it became acid bullets, I'm like, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
That part in particular was like, because I also love too, because at the end when they're in the warehouse and the cops show up because there were like reports of gunfire, one gunshot happened and it was a fucking acid bullet, which doesn't even have like the full like bang of an actual gun.
Yes.
What the fuck?
But then they all die.
But okay, sorry, wait. You were talking about why you liked this episode.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just in like a happier place watching this episode.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just in a dark place these days. I don't know.
Yeah. We reverted back to our original position.
Good. I was worried about that for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there were things I liked the dynamic of bringing in Jason, and I thought his characterization was done pretty well, where he felt earnest, he felt naive, he felt reckless.
It's everything you brought up last week, and everything. I feel like it's everything you wanted from him. We got.
Yeah, and I think he was a good foil,
especially at the end in the last scene when he just destroys the cops,
just mercilessly beats the shit out of the cops. Yeah, which I guess they kind of set up in the episode ish. But I mean, it's a nice foil to Dick in the sense of like, oh, this is what happens when someone like is even worse, right? Which I did like his inclusion, because you do feel like it does reflect back on Dick, and you get a sense that he might be learning a lesson here. And so I liked him in the episode. They gave him just enough to be kind of likable and a little bit charismatic and a little bit sympathetic. Like we got enough of his backstory to know that he's had a really rough life, so we kind of get why he's so barbed and why it's kind of dangerous for someone like this to be put in this position, but like enough to still make him like, okay, he's like annoying but kind of likable. He's like that douchey guy who'd be like, oh hey, yeah, like nice to see you, chat for like 2 minutes, like I'm done. I can't talk to him for more than this.
Where's my notes? I wrote in my notes said I'm getting horrible college flashbacks seeing Jason at the bar, too many frat douchebags that I know.
Yeah, right. Just
exactly who he was. He was the guy that walks into a bar and immediately decides that everything in there is his.
Yeah, he's obnoxious, and he just picks fights with people for no good reason. But I guess that's just what he has to do.
Yeah,
and
for me, it was him showing off to Dick that he's better.
Oh, I guess in the bar fight moment.
No, not the bar fight moment,
okay,
but just kind of the whole episode. It was like, oh yeah, I'm not just your replacement; I'm your upgrade.
Yeah,
and he wanted to show that off.
Well, also still like admiring this guy, like oh, like please like me, but also let me prove to you that I'm better than you. Like that, all that fit well. And I thought this was a pretty accurate characterization of Jason Todd all the way through. I would like to see him come back around. I would like to see more of him in this. I just don't know what more you can do. I feel like they kind of played the best card for the context of like, oh, he's annoying. This will help push you further along the path of like not being Robin anymore. Especially like just the constant insults of, oh yeah, like, you don't have access to the safe houses anymore, and I get to drive the Batmobile.
I kind of wish, because Dick, at least his representation in Young Justice, Dick is an expert hacker.
Yeah,
and I would have loved to see him like have him type in his password, it fails. Jason come up, he's like, oh, let me type in the new password, and just be like, no, I got this, and just hack into Batman's system.
Yeah, so not constantly being on the back foot and still being able to show off a little bit with his skills.
Yeah,
that would have been nice. Yeah,
because that's something that we haven't seen at all from him.
Yeah, because it was kind of repetitive in that sense. And yeah, you're right. We haven't.
The most tech we've seen of him was sneaking a hard drive in and getting security footage.
Right. Yeah, but that's a pretty good point. We've seen him being a really good fighter, and sometimes in some scenes like a really, really good fighter. But yeah, we haven't actually seen a lot of his other skills. Really
I think that's the
off.
problem with every Batman story is no one knows how to write him as a detective.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That kind of doubles for Dick because he's literally a detective.
He's literally a detective now,
and he has yet to do any detective work.
Yeah, like I think we need to see more of him being a detective. I think we need to see him being more of an acrobat too. That's kind of always been his thing. We're just not seeing a lot of that. And
because they just rely on CGI for that stuff.
That's true, they do.
And even when the moment we could have had it in this episode was already in silhouette, hire a fucking stunt double.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah,
because we don't see that. We don't see him being very charismatic either.
Not at all.
Which again, I mean, I think it's frankly still part of the problem. The actor, because like that's always been one of Dick's strengths is that he's really, really charming.
Because we even brought that up last week in the hotel when the woman working the front desk was charmed by him.
Yeah.
And when he walked into the bar, I wanted that again.
Yeah.
Just like, some of the girls kind of they didn't have to talk, but just have the extras in the background, like as he walks by, just kind of like turn and just like look.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been really fun.
I think that's part of it is that Dick Grayson should be one of those people that he walks into any room and everyone stops and looks. Like, because I think that's always been one of the fun dynamics between him and Bruce in a lot of like the comics and stuff too, is that Bruce always has like the card to play of being
the
billionaire, right? And Dick is wealthy by association, but
doesn't have his face in the limelight like Bruce does.
Yeah, but like I think Dick he's younger, hotter, fitter. He's the young hot version of Bruce.
Yeah.
But Bruce like can then in turn play the fact, oh, I'm older, I'm more established, I have money and that sort of thing. Like, we're just not seeing that here.
Yeah.
And I think my problem with the show continues to be Bruce's absence is now being problematic. Because we don't know what the objective truth is on him. What? I'm tapping?
Yes.
You can kind of hear it.
Okay. I mean, you always tell me when I do any kind of movement, like, I can hear it. And you're over here banging your chair.
Well, I like to at least be consistent in my hypocrisy.
Yes.
But without actually meeting Bruce at any point, we just don't know what the reality is of the situation. And I think that's part of the problem. Like, it's hard to have a bunch of characters that are emotionally affected by someone who we have no association with.
Right.
Like this sort of like weird phantom presence. It just doesn't work anymore at this point. Like we need to actually meet him and get a sense of, we need to get a bit of like, oh, here's where he's actually kind of a good guy at times. And here's where he's being a real piece of shit. We need to see him doing those things, because without that, a lot of this doesn't land for me.
Because my big thing at the end of this episode is when we get to the flashback of Robin watching Zuko die. And I was expecting this to be the reason why he's why he's merciless now.
Same.
But then it completely contradicts the beginning where in episode 1 he said he's merciless because Batman.
Yeah.
And so now that doesn't make any sense. And so now we have this big emotional pull, which is like his biggest emotional pull, that doesn't really mean anything anymore.
No, and
because he gives kind of the throwaway line of the same one he gave before. Once you're a weapon, you only see the world as a weapon.
Yeah.
And he's like, when he says watching Zuko, I watched Zuko die. Jason's like, oh, didn't it feel great? And he's like, that's the problem. Is it did. But that's for me, that doesn't feel strong enough to be like, oh, well, now I have this thirst for murder.
Yeah.
Where I can't restrain myself anymore. I feel like they still have to. There still has to be another beat, but it should have been this beat better.
Yeah. It's like there's too many reasons for things to be, and again, you look back at Robin's Reckoning, and that episode is so simple, and like we're given just enough information to understand why it's all significant. And maybe part of it is this is being done in flashback, and so it loses some of its impact. But I think it's also just getting stretched out. Like so much of this could have been taken care of way up front. And like, I like pieces of this episode. I like some of the things it's addressing, but it also really slows down the momentum of the show to deal with something that kind of could have been dealt with a long time ago. It's like, oh yeah, so halfway in, we're given like a reason why he's so murderous, but like to your point just now, but that's not the actual reason why he's so murderous.
Yes,
it's like just take care of that up front and then have the rest of the show being him trying to overcome it. But don't keep teasing like, oh, this is the reason why. Just kidding.
And also, this is the second full Robin episode we've had. We finally have the whole gang back together.
And then this happens.
And then immediately have a Robin solo episode.
Yeah. And it really, the whole pacing slows down a lot.
Yeah.
Like one of the best moments in the whole episode was when they all, like the rest of the Titans show up at the safe house. And the 30 seconds are all together, like, oh, this is the sort of fun we were having last week.
Yes, I did really enjoy Beast Boy in this episode.
Oh, he was like, oh, can I be Robin?
Like, how many Robins are there?
So many Robins?
Can I be Robin? Stop talking, Beast Boy. Can I be Robin?
Yeah. See, like, that's all really fun stuff. And I think when it's just, again, it's focusing all on Robin's backstory, it really slows down. I just get bored with it.
Yeah. I think it's also, to your point of you've been bringing up a few times now, you've been enjoying this show more because you don't have a connection to these characters.
Yeah.
Since we talk about Robin every single week for the past 102 weeks,
right?
I feel like we've kind of oversaturated ourselves with those stories. And so seeing it again and again.
Yeah.
We've already mentioned at least 2 other references when we've seen this story.
And both are done better.
Yes.
Because, again, they're done with efficiency. And maybe part of my problem now is I'm particularly sensitive to franchise stretching.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But
Star Wars?
Yeah, Star Wars. all Star Wars. But that's what this felt like, a filler episode. Right in the middle of what had been some really good momentum going forward.
Because literally the momentum we had coming from the last episode was the Doctor who was asleep the entire episode.
Yeah, and then just like Starfire gives him one kick, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, what? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm conscious now."
Yeah,
and I won't tell you anything.
It was a little frustrating how he carried the Doctor around.
Just dragged him on the ground.
Because he could have done it from his shoulders. He could have just dragged his feet, but no, he drags his leg, and so his head is the thing. I kind of liked everything.
I kind of liked it. I kind of like that shot of like the two of them, Jason and Dick, dragging this guy down the hallway or down through the parking garage. I mean, there were some nice moments. I liked when Jason notices the painting of Machiavelli and Dick quotes him. Like, it's very on the nose. Like, really, Bruce, you'd have a painting of Machiavelli hanging in one of your safe houses?
Oh, I wrote down the quote because I loved it a lot.
Yeah.
If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance should not be feared. Severity should be dealt with all at once, so their suddenness shall give less offense. Benefits shall be handed out drop by drop, so they may be relished the more. I like that. It is very Batman.
That. And that's to some degree even reminiscent of the Batman of the DCAU. Like that really is a good descriptor of his character in general. And I just feel like if we had seen him and we had seen those things, it would have more impact than just being told. Like, again, it's a visual medium. Show, don't tell. It's right there. Yes. Like screenwriting 101. But I did like that. I did like the little glimpse we got of their Batmobile. It looked pretty cool. It looks like it had maybe a dual bubble canopy thing going on, so a little bit like 60s. It had like a bit of the 60s one, bit of the BTOS one in there. I was like, oh, I want to see what the rest of this car looks like.
Probably won't.
We probably won't. What else did I like?
Oh, I like Robert Plinkins on his ID.
Oh yeah, the fake ID, and he doesn't get in.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you know who Robert Plinkins is?
No.
I don't think we've watched this movie together. It's not, is it Kurt Russell's in Escape from New York?
Oh,
right?
Pliskin.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, is that his first name? Because it's like Snake Plissken is.
Yeah. So yeah. So the bouncer says "Not tonight, Snake," in reference to that. Yeah. So it was a big Escape from New York.
I missed that. That's pretty good. I did love. So we were talking about the flashbacks with Dick interacting with his friends at the circus.
Mm-hmm.
That actor is way too old to be behaving the way he was when he was seeing his friends.
Yes.
Like when the strongman like picks him up and like throwing him in the air, he's like, "Oh my god, we're having so much fun!"
Yeah,
like, you're 14.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say he looks 14 or 15.
Yeah. Maybe if you were like 8 or 9, I would buy this. I love that Dick Grayson that actor is too young to be playing that version of that character, but then in turn they've given us
an actor way too young to be playing an older Dick Grayson.
Yeah, it's fantastic. A fantastic irony.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm still on board. I'm still on board with the show. I still keep seeing the potential. But the big takeaway I had from this was being sad that this isn't part of a well-crafted cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking about how I liked the inclusion of Jason Todd here. I like their characterization of it. I would love to see him like interact with Batman. I'd love to see him actually be Robin with Batman. I'd love to see like this taking the character eventually go down the Death in the Family route and the Red Hood route. And you just get that feeling of like, all right, if someone like Kevin Feige was running DC, and if we had a DC universe done in the Marvel Cinematic Universe style, we would have had a movie like this, where like we would have had a Nightwing movie, which is about him leaving Batman for whatever reason, forgoing that identity and taking on a new one. It probably would have involved Jason Todd at some point. We could have had like an introduction of Jason Todd here. We could have picked up his story again in a future Batman film. It would have been the same actor, same character, and it would have been really fleshed out and cool and interesting. And that's not what we're getting.
Well, we don't know that for sure. But because I relate this a lot to Superman the animated series, where they weren't expecting it to be a giant universe. They might have had that in the back of their mind when writing Superman, but like when we got Flash, I don't think everyone was expecting Justice League to come out a few years later.
No, I don't think so. But at the same time, do you really want to see like a Batman series set in the Titans universe? In the Titans tone?
No.
It's the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they're all so disparate and they're all kind of a bit lazy. And I was just like,
Mm-hmm. I did enjoy. Dick is very slowly opening up to Corey a little more.
Yeah.
When they're on the phone, he's a little softer with her. He's like you see the little cracks starting to open.
Yeah.
She's playing therapist and she's winning.
I mean, again, the more Starfires in the show, the better.
Mm-hmm.
She continues to be the best character, hands down.
Let's see. I think that's
all you got.
I think that might be all I have.
Yeah.
God, just let's just take a minute to talk about the scene of Jason beating up the cops. Because holy shit, that was graphic.
It was.
That was painful.
And I mean, and it does really come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I get how the fallout of that is supposed to have an effect on Dick, but in the moment, it did seem really gratuitous.
He snaps his spine.
Yeah, I know.
He goes full Bane on one of the policemen.
And
that was an awesome shot, though.
I mean, yeah.
When they had him still in the scene rotated around him.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
But yeah, I agree with you.
But then you're like, oh, that's a cop.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. It's just, and the comment that came to mind as I was watching that scene was like, oh, right, this is the problem with this show. It's not about heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it's missing the beat. I think obviously flawed heroes are way more interesting than purely noble ones, but I don't really give a shit about anti-heroes. I just don't think that idea really works anymore.
Yeah.
and I feel like Marvel in a lot of ways actually kind of killed the anti-hero because they've proven that you can do really interesting flawed heroes on their own.
Absolutely. Which has been the staple of Marvel
since
the 60s.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of Marvel, was to show that you can relate to the good guy.
Yeah, and I think that's what's missing here. It's like that's what the DCAU does well. It's what Young Justice does well too. It's like, all right, this is about heroes. And they are responsible for some of their own misery, but like they're still trying to be heroes at the end of the day. And it's their personalities are getting in the way. We're like, no one here is really trying to be a hero. They're all just kind of assholes.
Yeah. Just a bunch of assholes. Because that's even the line from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Just a bunch of assholes sitting in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah, because like those are like, they're kind of the closest anti-heroes that Marvel has. But even then, they're still like, fuck, okay, fine, we'll go be heroes.
They're still doing it for the greater good.
Yeah. And like,
they just try to see how they can profit off of it later.
Yeah, like they're doing it for the actual greater good too, not like Grindelwald's greater good or Hot Fuzz greater good. Should we move along though?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So we got some notes from friends here.
We did.
One kind of cool one here.
Oh wait, sorry. Last line. The last line of the episode. Where's Rachel? I screamed it in my apartment.
Rachel.
Yes, because it's the same line from.
That's been a distracting thing for me this entire show. Actually, anytime anyone says Rachel. Nope. Should have picked a different name.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah. So in terms of some notes here, got some fun stuff. You were actually.
I got a note from a friend.
Yeah.
Yes, Maddie, our good friend Maddie. I'm not going to go into the details in case he wants to flesh this out more in private. But we had a nice little discussion on how we would create more Hanna-Barbera movies.
Yeah.
I had a great time talking to him. I let it slip that if they were to make a Hanna-Barbera universe, my Avengers movie would be Wacky Racers. Which would be so amazing. Could you imagine having like 8 years leading up to a race?
Yep. I love it. I'm all on board for it.
It would be so dumb and so wonderful.
So worth it, though.
But what have people been talking to you or us about?
So one, I think I sent this to you. I sent to you as a text, but Benjamin David over at Above and Batman Beyond posted a great thing on Twitter commenting on your knowledge of art history and how proud he was of you because he was an art history teacher himself. That was pretty funny. And then after,
I'm glad I didn't fail.
I know,
everyone.
I think, you got it, man. You know your art history.
Thank you.
It comes to you eventually. You have to sit and ponder it for a while, but it'll eventually get there. And then Gordon Wills and Paul Hill were both chatting with us on Instagram about what Condiment King Beyond might look like, which might be cool to see. Hopefully they come up with some iterations.
Should I say what my version's going to be?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we had a brief talk about it. I think all three of us are going to draw our interpretation of Condiment King Beyond. My version, if I can figure it out properly, is going to be Sergeant Soylent. And I'm very excited to figure that out.
It's going to be so good. I cannot wait for that. So I'm really excited to see what those come out to be. And then Ashley Clark wrote in to say that she would love to play our version of the Batman villain Monopoly.
Yes. I actually started working on it while I was in New York.
You did? Oh my God. Good on you. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah. We'll talk about that after the podcast.
And then we were talking about like what trailers you think will be in front of the. We were talking about what's really going to be in front of Fantastic Beasts. Nothing was the answer.
Yes,
nothing of significance.
Didn't we get some announcement from Warner Brothers?
We got nothing new. We got nothing. There were no new trailers.
Oh yeah, just
that same fucking trailer for Mortal Engines that I've seen a billion times. Oh God, I mean like. I really like the AMC Stubbs A-list. Is what I switched to from MoviePass. But they have so many trailers in for the movies, and AMC is pushing Mortal Engines real hard. Yeah, the movie looks terrible. But
no, we got another trailer. Not Bumblebee, not Mortal Engine. Oh, Akita. That was a new trailer.
Oh, I guess that was a new Alita. Yeah,
Alita. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks okay.
I want that to be good because the trailer makes it look so fun.
It might be fun. I like Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
so
we'll save that for another time.
Yeah. But no, my friend Jason, he just started listening to the podcast though, and he said that they won't put It Chapter 2 trailer in front of it because it's a kid's film. Grindelwald's kid film.
Yeah.
There was no Detective Pikachu trailer, which he suggested might be the case.
I feel like it's too young.
Yeah, it might be a little bit. And then he says we'll probably get maybe the Joker teaser in front of Aquaman, which I think is fair.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, he thinks that Avengers 4 will be in front of Mary Poppins because it'll then further kill Aquaman's second weekend, which is also probably true.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Competition.
Good insights, Jason. And then one other quick one is there is a British TV show called The Few, and there's a second season coming out called Dark Future. You may have seen, there's some news came out like about a week or so ago that Kevin Conroy was going to be starring in a superhero show.
Okay.
Or he's going to be guest spotting on it. But the actual Twitter account for that show like tagged us and some of our other DCAU people on it and said, oh, have you seen this news? Because they're actually working on an Indiegogo campaign right now to fund the second season, which would include live action Kevin Conroy of all things, which would be cool to see. And I watched a little bit of the footage from the first season. It's a cool looking show. So I'll tag their Indiegogo campaign in the show notes there.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'd love to read up on that.
But yeah, I think that's kind of it for Notes from Friends. What are you plugging this week, Cameron?
Plugging this week? Oh man, well, as if anyone follows me on anyone who follows me on Instagram knows, it's been a very Harry Potter filled week for me.
My God, it really has though.
And so I'm gonna plug just kind of the thing I was most excited for this week. I saw Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
How was it?
On Broadway, and it was unbelievable. For anyone who's read the book, I'm gonna be realistic about it because I think everyone is has kind of like the Harry Potter goggles on, where Harry Potter can do no wrong up until last night.
Cool.
But the story is just okay. It honestly feels like fan fiction.
It yeah.
But seeing the Broadway production of it, where like it's not just a play we're seeing, it's a full-on magic show.
Yeah.
And that was what was amazing about it. Like you had people taking Polyjuice Potion and on stage, not going in shadow, not going off stage, right in front of you, turning into another person.
What?
And it was so cool.
How are they pulling that off?
It's literally like a Vegas level magic show we got to see.
Okay.
And then there's these beautiful dance numbers between scenes that are so cool. The whole score, which is the second part of my plug, is the Imogen Heap score.
Okay.
Is just so beautiful and eerie and just like it's this perfect balance of like tranquil fear is how I've been describing it.
Oh, interesting.
And it's like, it's that haunting beauty kind of sound.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that being the best part about it is just to see how do you translate this world that can no longer rely on camera trickery. It has to be done in person.
Or special effects.
Special effects, yeah. Yeah, because I've read The Cursed Child, and I feel like...
It's fan fiction.
I hate to say it, but I feel like J.K. Rowling, like, pretty much anything she's written in bed in the Harry Potter world after Deathly Hallows reads like fan fiction. Mostly the fucking movie we just saw.
Shh. But yeah, it's the length of 3 movies, which is kind of the hardest part to get around.
Yeah, 6 hours.
It's
right?
a 6-hour play.
Woo!
But oh man,
worth
it was unbelievably worth it.
Yeah.
If anyone can take a trip out to New York to see it, I highly recommend it because it's
if you have the means.
I
highly recommend going.
Yes, and also just like. There's like scary moments in it.
Yeah.
Like the Dementors come in halfway through and they come in from not from the stage ceiling, from the ceiling.
Oh, like the audience ceiling.
Yes.
Oh shit.
And just fly above you and they actually play with the thermostat so that you feel the shiver as they're flying over. Like, oh shit. Like they went. It's so good. And I have nothing else to say about it.
No,
and also go see Grindelwald.
Okay. All right.
We're not going to talk about Grindelwald. We're not going to talk about Grindelwald.
I'm gonna avoid going on a full blown rant about this.
But we did see it.
Yes,
and that's where we're gonna leave it.
We did see Grindelwald. I put a call out when Justice League came out, telling people don't bother to go see this. I'm putting out that same call now for Grindelwald. With even more emphasis. Yes. And I actually have a reason why.
Okay.
It's not just that it's bad. Like you and I are a little bit different on this, but like, I'm sorry, objectively that movie is terrible. Nothing of consequence happened, and it's pure franchise stretching.
Yes, I agree.
Like you could go into the third one, which I will not do. Like this movie was so bad, I've given up. Like even Justice League couldn't stop me from going and seeing, well, I guess Aquaman's going to be the next one. I will not watch another movie from Warner Brothers in the Harry Potter world.
Okay.
Because it was that fucking terrible. But there's a reason why I'm actually encouraging people not to go see it. Because then you're teaching them the wrong lesson. And, you know, I think that we have reached a point now where there's not an excuse for making a bad franchise film. And I think mostly that comes down to Marvel, who continues to really strive to make good movies and to make them at the kind of level that they're going to do that kind of blockbuster business and to really innovate and push the boundaries on things. And the problem that Warner Brothers has been having of late with both the DC Extended Universe and especially with the Harry Potter stuff is they're not trying. Like, they're just not trying to even make a good movie. Like, they had an idea for a spinoff that could have been like 3 fun, whimsical adventure films, maybe like kind of like a Harry Potter version of Indiana Jones almost. And they've stretched it out into this battle versus good and evil that's basically the exact same thing we saw in the original movies with less interesting characters.
But now they're gay.
barely even acknowledging that that's what that is. And the problem is that this movie's going to do well, so then they're not going to try on the third one. Like, the first one did well enough, they came around to do this one, and they put even less effort into making it good. They tried less to make it feel like its own really well-rounded film. And if people keep going and seeing these movies, then they'll just keep making shit. And if one studio can get away with making a shit film that does well, others will do it as well. I mean, Sony did that with Venom. And then it just lowers the bar across the board. And I think that's a big problem, actually.
Absolutely.
So that's my rant.
I'm very curious because I haven't had a conversation with a lot of people about this yet. Because since I'm usually the one that sees it Thursday night, so then everyone that sees it Friday I can talk to.
Yeah.
I can't say the last one because I saw it.
We still saw it Friday night. Yeah.
But I'm very curious talking to people that like dedicate their lives to Harry Potter, how they feel about this film. Because I feel like it's going to be a very similar conversation to Star Wars fans and Last Jedi.
I think Harry Potter fans will be more forgiving than Star Wars fans.
That's interesting. Because I feel like this movie, as much as I didn't like Last Jedi, I think this movie is worse.
Yes.
And I think
by a huge margin.
Yes. But I'm curious how forgiving the Harry Potter fans will be.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that Harry Potter fans in general are a slightly more positive and upbeat group than Star Wars fans. I think they're more inclined to be forgiving, and that's a good thing. I'd rather have people.
And then I want to know how they're broken up by house, how they feel about this.
Of course,
like,
right.
Do the Slytherins hate it more than the Gryffindors?
I think the reason is I hate it was I'm a Ravenclaw, and I'm like, this is meant for idiots.
The Hufflepuffs, and we love it.
Yeah, it's meant for Hufflepuffs. But I think the Harry Potter fans will be okay with it. But let's acknowledge I'm a really big Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
Too. Like, I love the movies. I've read the books multiple times.
You constantly throw that in my face.
Yeah, because I can. You know, I've been going out trying to find more of like the Harry Potter blind bag Lego minifigures to put them up on the wall. Like, I really do genuinely love Harry Potter. Like, it was a big part of my childhood growing up, and I still have a deep love for it. And I think it's maybe part of the reason I was so mad about this movie was that it's again, making more shit content in what was once a really good universe doesn't diminish the quality of what came before it, but it's a waste of opportunity.
Right.
And I'm just frustrated knowing they're going to make 3 more garbage films and that they'll just keep doing it and they won't try at all. So guys, don't go see The Crimes of Grindelwald. It's awful.
I would have, if they're making it a 5-part series, which I think is still the rumor, I don't think there's a platform it could be on. I mean, Netflix, but I would have preferred this to be a limited series. I feel like that's kind of how everyone is feeling about everything right now. Yeah. It's just like, why make it 2 movies and you just make it a limited series?
Well, exactly. I think that those strategies, either you aim to make one good movie and then maybe have follow-ups to it, but make one really good movie at a time, or if you want to do a longer format storytelling, do it as a limited series. But like, that's the problem, is that Warner Brothers needed that tentpole franchise money. It's like, oh, let's balloon this thing out to 5 films and let's shoehorn a bunch of references to the old films to trick people into thinking that it's good, which it's not.
Here's a snake, but she wasn't a snake once. once she was a human
Yeah.
who was turned into a snake.
Yes, and she has little to nothing to do because no one in this movie.
You
has
remember this
anything to
mirror?
do.
This mirror from the first Harry Potter movie that's never brought up again?
Yeah,
That's back.
don't worry, it's back to like allude to some exposition.
Yes.
It's back. Do you want to hear some name drops? Don't worry, we've got name drops for you galore.
Here's McGonagall.
Yeah.
There she goes.
So
Just as quick-witty as before.
yeah, it's really awful. So instead of going and seeing Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Warner Brothers, I would recommend going to see a fantastic movie called Green Book.
I do want to go see that movie.
I am biased. It is one of ours. It's one of the films released by the production company that I work for. And so in that sense, it's not coming from the most reliable source. But I will objectively say it's actually very, very good.
It's reviewing well.
It is reviewing well,
It's like
yeah.
at 90% right now.
Yeah, and so the story, for those of you who don't know what it's about this guy named Tony Lip, who's played by Viggo Mortensen. He's like a Bronx Italian boxer, like bouncer kind of guy, really rough around the edges. And he's hired by this black concert pianist, Dr. Don Shirley, to take him on a tour of the South. Basically, Shirley needs a driver, bodyguard.
But
chauffeur.
what year is this, Chris?
This is 1962.
Ah.
So it's before the Civil Rights Movement. And so the South at that time is obviously a horrifying and terrible place. And, it's... But
what is the Green Book?
So the Green Book... the Green Book refers to an actual thing. And it was a book that was basically published by and for the black community in America at the time that told you where it was safe to go, like what hotels were safe, what towns were safe, gas stations, restaurants. Is basically like, look, it's dangerous for you to exist in this place. Here's a guide to make it a little bit safer. And so they have to use the Green Book to kind of navigate through the space. And the Green Book kind of operates in the background of all of it. That's kind of one of the inspiration points for the whole thing. But this all sounds very heavy and dramatic, and it's a very emotional film. It's really sweet, but it's about their friendship. But it's also actually very funny. It's directed by Peter Farrelly, who is part of the Farrelly brothers. So like there's something about Mary. And this is a dramatic term for him. But again, in the same way that if you're a comedic actor, you can do drama, comedic directors can do...
Yeah, Adam McKay's done it.
Yeah, Adam McKay's made the transition, and it's legitimately really, really good. We have 3 films coming out at the end of the year here, and I'd say this is probably the best of them.
All right.
And it's really, really solid. It's a limited theatrical release right now, so it's probably only in LA and New York, but it's going to get a wider release, I think, sometime around Christmas.
Nice.
But it's very good. I highly recommend seeing it.
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I can take you and get it for free.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so we'll do that. But yeah, that's my plug this week.
Great.
Go and see that. So, yeah.
So where can they find you, Chris?
They can find me at Lordifer on Twitter and Instagram. How about you, Cameron? Where can they find you?
If you want to see my face and all my adventures, you can find me at CamDexter_adventures. If you want to see my art, which I will be updating someday, you can find that at Cameron.Dexter. Yeah. And
then, of course, the podcast itself is at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Gmail.
Yes, indeed.
If after hearing this you ignored my warnings and went to go see The Crimes of Grindelwald, or you saw it before hearing this, I am curious. I'm actually genuinely curious what other people think. And if you liked it...
I'm also very curious.
If you liked it, I promise I will not shit on you for it. I want to know what about it you liked, because, again, I would always rather like something than hate it. But, oof.
And if you want to know what the story is without ever going to see it, just message me, and I'll tell you the whole thing is a lie.
Yeah. You don't... There is no story.
Yes. Literally, the whole movie is a lie.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty much true.
If anyone who's seen it, they'll get that.
Yeah, it's pretty much terrible. But anyways, as always, we appreciate your listenership.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.